Live from Canada Place in downtown Vancouver, this is Canada Day 1999.
Live from BCTV. The Noon News Hour with Deborah Hope.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this special broadcast of the Noon News Hour. Hope you're enjoying Canada's birthday. Our country is 132 years old today. She is looking a little gray around the edges, but enough about the weather. We're live here at Canada Place with an expected 80,000 or so of our closest friends. In fact, I've been told that this is the second largest Canada Day celebration after Ottawa in the country. We're patriotic Canadians here in British Columbia, and speaking of patriotic Canadians, Squire Barnes is here with me.
Yeah, thanks very much. Always nice to
sporting the little Canada Day pin today.
Be down with our fellow Canadians. Yeah, you got two, I got one. They're handing these out. Lots of fun, lots of things to do down here. And, you know, coming up in sports, it's probably appropriate that it is Canada's birthday.
Is it?
Because yesterday the Vancouver Grizzlies drafted Steve Francis out of Maryland, and he didn't look too happy.
Boy, I would go further than that. I would say he looked really unhappy.
Yeah, he was pretty unhappy about being drafted by the Vancouver Grizzlies. They asked him where Vancouver is. He said it's up there somewhere. He's not sure where it is, but he'll know where it is soon because they're flying him in on Monday. We'll talk about Steve Francis and the BC Lions last night. But you know, a memo to our American friends, geography classes. It really helps your children. Anyway.
Not that we're trying to insult them or anything, but we study them.
But you know, you see a lot of American athletes just don't know where Vancouver is. Well, you'll know pretty soon, Steve. And you'll be celebrating with us next year at this time.
Exactly. And Zach is here. Zach, you're outside.
I get to play today. It's a lot of fun. I have a little paddle ball here. It's got BCTV on it. I'm not very good at it. We have some great promotional things going on here when you come down. Make sure you look for the BCTV kiosk. If you make a $5 donation, you'll get the paddle ball while it lasts. And also you get a good-looking zinc for when the sun comes out, Deb.
If it ever does, Zach.
But that money goes to charity, and you can also make sure you enter for a trip across Canada on Via Rail. It's worth $15,000, and it's for you and your entire family.
Wow.
I don't think there's anything more Canadian than that. I tell you what, the weather is not too bad for Canada today. We'll show you what's happening from our 3-tower cams. There's Canada Place from Vancouver. We have great, a shower just moved through here, but it's dry right now, and it's not too bad. It's fairly mild out. There's Richmond. It looks a little bit brighter. And Victoria on Canada Day has some cloud cover, but also some sunny breaks as well. It's not a bad day, not as bad as we have seen in the last few days. And we'll be back with the entire forecast for the entire province on Canada Day. And we also have some special guests. The Rankin family will be here.
Oh, all right, Zach. Okay. Thanks very much. This is a very exciting day for many people across the country because today is the day that they officially become Canadian. Close to 1,500 people will be sworn in as new Canadians in ceremonies across Canada today. Just minutes ago at this ceremony in Vancouver, 102 people were sworn in. They came from 38 different countries. Now the ceremony lasts about an hour and it involves repeating the oath of citizenship in both French and English as a group, and then they're all presented with their citizenship certificate. And among those being sworn in this morning as new Canadians, a Russian family. And reporter Oliver Lum introduces us now to some of Canada's newest citizens.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all the songs command.
Singing the national anthem takes on a whole new meaning for 6-year-old Paulina Baklakova today.
From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Today, Paulina, along with her mother Julia and father Sergei, officially become Canadian citizens.
This day is kind of very special to me.
For us, this day is very important because from that day, Canada is our home and native land.
It's my home. Now it's my home. It's my new home, and I'm proud that it's going to be now 100% based on even the citizenship of Canada. That I'm Canadian, and I can say proudly, I'm Canadian. Now I'm Canadian.
It was just 4 years ago that this family of 3 decided to move from their home in Moscow. All 3 were born in Russia, and Sergei and Julia had good jobs. Sergei was a model, and Julia worked in the film industry. but they were worried about their future, especially their daughter's future.
It was more caused by the political reasons. It is very unbearable and painful to see that the state is indifferent and cruel to its citizens. We didn't want to be a part of that.
So this young family then decided to start a new life in Canada, and the reasons for coming here were simple.
Canada was the first country we chose because it's obviously a traditionally peaceful country. It's very, very politically stable, very stable financially, and one of the most important things as well, very, very tolerant to the other races.
It's easy to take for granted that all those things are what Canada is about, but to this family of brand new Canadian citizens, that's what makes this country attractive to them.
And our congratulations to all the new Canadians who have been or will be sworn in today. You know, Canada Day is one of the few times each year we consider what it is to be Canadian. Like any other country, our national identity is bound to our history. Remembering and preserving a part of that history is the goal of a small but devoted group of volunteers. They've taken on the task of restoring the oldest registered sailing yacht in the country. It's called, appropriately enough, the Canada. It was launched in St. John, New Brunswick in 1898, and these days it's docked in a private shipyard not far from Ottawa on the banks of the Rideau River.
A quiet inlet on the Rideau River is home to the Ludlow Boat Works. Many of the craft resting here will never return to the water. Instead, they'll lay rotting on the shore until time sees them crumble away. Some, however, will be brought back to life, like the boat that sits inside a makeshift structure known as Canada House. Day after day, through summer and winter, a devoted crew of amateur shipbuilders is slowly, painstakingly bringing the sailing yacht named Canada back to life.
This is one of the last remaining examples of Victorian-era naval architecture. A photograph of the Canada on launching day, June 9th, 1898.
Don Sangster is chairman of the Sailing Yacht Canada Restoration Project. He and others have taken on the enormous task of trying to reverse a century of slow decay.
We caught it just in time. It had been outside unprotected for 30 years, and it deteriorated quite badly, as you can imagine.
The task of restoring the Canada would be daunting enough, even if the team had the estimated $700,000 it will cost. Much of their time is spent fundraising.
We've raised ourselves about $85,000 of that, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a major effort for 15 people.
They've held yard sales and hand out tax receipts for donations in kind, like this used sailboat. For $100, people can sponsor one of the ship's 94 ribs and have their names engraved on a plaque when the ship is completed.
We're still looking for a major sponsor. None of the government agencies that we have applied for have seen fit to support us.
The lack of funding has dictated the way the ship is being rebuilt, which just adds to the challenge.
Normally when you build a boat, you lay the keel first and then build a boat on top of it. Well, at the rate we're going, the keel is going to be one of the last things that's done. So basically we're building a boat backwards.
This is the original ship's Bible for Canada. It's been on the vessel ever since it was built, and it's been on board all throughout the restoration.
The team sees the Bible as a kind of good luck charm, and despite all the difficulties, they intend to keep on going no matter what.
It's a labor of love, I think so. It's the only rational way you can explain people coming out in the winter at 25 below and in the summer on a day like this.
The ultimate goal here is to restore the Canada to a condition where it could be relaunched and travel the country as a living historical exhibit. The volunteers can't say when she'll set sail again, but it will be a proud day for everyone.
I can't imagine what my emotions would be on that day, and all of us. It'll be an emotional time, that's for sure.
If you'd like to learn more about the Canada or help sponsor the project, you can write to the Sailing Yacht Canada Restoration Project, 2924 Donnelly Drive, rural route number 4 in Kentville, Ontario, K0G1J0, actually I guess, yeah, zeros. And you can also get them on their internet site to www.c1a1.ca/sy-Canada/. How much do you know about Canada? You think you're up on Canadian trivia? Because we put together a little quiz, and earlier this week we took it to some of our provincial politicians. Here's a look at how they did.
How many in total? How many provinces and territories are there?
10 provinces, 3 territories.
10 and 3, I believe. Should make. Oh, that would make 13.
13.
I'll have to count.
Okay.
I'd say 13.
How do you pronounce the name of the newest territory?
Nunavut.
Nunavut.
I can't remember.
Nunavut.
Roughly the population of Canada?
Of Canada?
Yeah.
I guess now it must be getting close to 30 million.
About 30 million.
8 to 10 million?
Canada? All of Canada?
Yeah.
About 32 million, I think.
And the official national animal?
Oh, Canada.
No, animal.
Animal.
Not animal.
The beaver, of course.
Oh, the beaver.
Gee, Surrey's is the beaver. Moose.
Beaver.
And who's your favorite Canadian?
Oh, my favorite Canadian. Like of all time?
I think be living or dead or both.
I'd say Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, Gordy Lightfoot. Come on. Gordy Lightfoot? Gordy Lightfoot.
Living or dead?
Pick one of each.
Agnes McPhail.
And?
Margaret Atwood.
Of all the prime ministers, now this is heresy for a New Democrat, Pierre-Elliott Trudeau.
Oh, okay.
There's plenty more to come this hour. We'll get the latest breaking news in a couple of minutes, but first a little Canadian trivia and a short break, and we'll have more live from Canada Place when we come back on the noon news hour. Stay with us. Welcome back to our live broadcast from Canada Place on Canada's 132nd birthday. There are all sorts of festivities underway for Canada Day here, and we'll be talking about what you can see and do a little bit later. But right now, let's get to the other news of the day. Reg Hampton is back at our studios in Burnaby with that. Hi, Reg.
Hi, Deb. Looks like fun down there.
It is. We're having a great time.
Well, thanks, Deb. And we know that with any holiday comes increased traffic on the roads, and more traffic can mean more accidents. And this long weekend has already become a deadly one on BC roads. This morning after 6, 2 cars collided head-on the Trans-Canada Highway through the Fraser Canyon at Boston Bar. Traffic is just now getting back to normal after the highway was shut down for over 3 hours. 2 people died in the accident, and 2 others are in hospital with serious injuries. Their names and hometowns have not been released yet, and police are still investigating. Police in Surrey are asking for witnesses after a fatal car crash in that city overnight. RCMP say just after 11 last night, a car went out of control on King Road in the 1500 block and slammed into some trees. The driver, a man, was the only one inside the car, and police haven't released his name yet. And in South Vancouver this morning, yet another car crash, but this one thankfully was not fatal. It took 10 minutes for firefighters to pry 2 men from the wreckage using the jaws of life. The passenger and driver were taken to hospital with serious injuries, but they will live. Police say the car hit a light pole on Canby Street near 35th Avenue, then flipped over onto its roof, trapping the men inside. There's still no sign this afternoon of a crab fisherman missing in waters off Richmond last night. The search started at about 9:30 after reports came in that the man had fallen off his 33-meter boat. He was not wearing a life jacket. An overnight search failed to find any trace of the man. He's described as 45 years old, 5'3", with short black hair. Lower Mainland police are looking for an inmate this morning, a man who walked away from the Sumas Correctional Center on Tuesday. Here's a picture of 26-year-old Kirk Rivet. Police say he's a transsexual who was serving 4 years for armed robbery. If you see him, call Abbotsford Police or 911. Police say Rivet is an extreme risk to reoffend, and he may be armed and dangerous. Well, if you've been scouring your yard for your daily newspaper today but have had no luck, the reason is simple. Your paper wasn't delivered. Talks between Pacific Press and the Communication, Energy and Paper Workers Union broke down overnight. And although the Vancouver-based dailies were delivered in some areas, they weren't in others. Pacific Press says all papers will be delivered within the day, though. The stumbling block in the negotiations is the issue of contracting out. The union doesn't want either the Vancouver Sun or the province to use a Lower Mainland news service instead of its own reporters. So far, there's no talk of job action, and more talks are scheduled for today. The mayor of a small resort town in the French Alps says the mountains are in mourning after a horrific accident this morning. A cable car gondola crashed down 80 meters on the slopes of a ski resort, killing all 21 people aboard. There were no tourists in the cable car. The victims were all workers going up to a space observatory. The midnight deadline came and went, and still no deal on disarmament in Northern Ireland. Catholic and Protestant leaders are meeting today in Belfast to hammer out the Good Friday peace accord. British Prime Minister Tony Blair says a lot of progress has been made, but leaders of the Ulster Unionist Party and Sinn Féin are still blaming each other for the deadlock over disarming the IRA. And we go back to Deb Hope now, who's live at the Canada Day celebrations at Canada Place in downtown Vancouver. Deb.
Yeah, it's pretty crowded down here, Reg. They're expecting up to 80,000 people here, and really there's only one celebration in the country that gets more people than Canada Place does, and that is Ottawa, where they get about 300,000. But we have had up to 100,000 here in previous years, so it's busy. There's more to come on our special Canada Day broadcast. Zach Spencer's going to be here with a look at the weather forecast for the long weekend. We'll see what that's going to be like. And he's going to be talking to one of Canada's hottest musical acts, the Rankins. As we take a short break, more of our Canada Day quiz, and we are back in a couple of minutes.
Where are you from?
Maple Ridge.
Who is the first female Prime Minister of Canada?
I don't know.
Do you want to be?
Yeah.
Pay isn't very good.
Oh.
How many provinces and how many territories are there?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Who is the head of state for Canada?
You know more about Canada than I do. Do we have states?
No, the head of state. Who is the figurehead of our country?
The Prime Minister?
Bigger than that.
The Queen. Queen
Right.
We have 2 territories and 9 provinces.
You're off by 1 on each.
Oh,
There's 10 provinces.
10 provinces and then 3 territories.
Can you name the new territory, the latest one?
Oh,
Do you know the name of Canada's Prime Minister?
No.
Which Prime Minister used to talk to the ghost of his dead mother?
Go with him.
It was Laurier.
Mackenzie King. Do you know the 5 Great Lakes?
I forgot them. Think.
Can you name 2 of them for me?
I think one is the Mississippi.
Well, that's a river, a lake.
Lake Ontario.
Lake Ontario. And I think I know another. Lake Michigan.
Perfect.
That's embarrassing. Not hearing me. Welcome back to the new News Hour live from Canada Place, where they're expecting tens of thousands of people throughout the course of the day, and festivities go right through till 10:30 tonight when they have a fireworks display. Now, what is the weather going to be like for you this weekend? Zach Spencer's on the hot seat outside in the plaza.
Yeah, and you know what? Today looks like probably the best day of the next 4 or 5, which is good news for everybody that has a national holiday today. Thousands of people down here at Canada Place. You guys have been enjoying the weather so far this summer? They're all going to turn on me here after I do the weather. I gotta go. It's a lot of fun meeting everybody down here, and the weather isn't too bad for today. We had a shower move through the area just a little while ago. That's what's happening from our tower cam down towards Canada Place, and the forecast for tonight and for tomorrow calls for generally gray skies. You'll see the temperature getting close to 20 degrees. It feels not too bad down here. Clouds overnight and through tomorrow. Now, there still is a risk of an isolated shower through the area overnight and through tomorrow morning, but not any major downpour downpours forecast overnight and through tomorrow. At the airport right now, they call it. There's been a light rain shower recently at the airport, 14 degrees. The winds are light, the barometer's on the rise, which is good, and the relative humidity at 70%. The satellite image shows, if you can look at the Queen Charlotte Islands, there's clouds moving down along the Queen Charlotte Islands. That system will slide down the coastline, bringing precipitation our way in time for the weekend, unfortunately. So today really isn't too bad when you look at the broad picture. So the 5-day forecast. Tomorrow we'll see a day much like today, showers around the area, generally gray skies, and there's still a chance of showers. Saturday and Sunday looks gray with showers off and on and not that great. Monday we might see a peak of the sun again. Temperatures are a few degrees below seasonal. The radar shows the precipitation that moved through here this morning. This is time-lapsed over the last 3 hours, and you can see a band of showers just moving through the lower mainland now. Temperatures through British Columbia with our weather live locations. You can see the temperatures getting close to 20 degrees through the Okanagan, Kamloops, and quite cool in Prince George, where they have a heavy rainfall warning. So the forecast for tomorrow, the day after Canada Day, the 2nd of July, showers off and on for Whitehorse and the Lakes, low of 7 and a high of 19. The northeast, partly cloudy skies and showers off and on, cool at 16. The Caribou Central Interior, showers continue for you. Prince George, as I mentioned, has a heavy rainfall warning. You'll see some more showers tomorrow. The North Coast, we see some showers, and only 13 is your daytime high for Friday. Thompson, Okanagan, showers coming your way in the afternoon, a high of 21. And over we go to the Kootenays, where you have showers through the day tomorrow and a high of 18. For the South Coast, partly cloudy conditions, chance of showers. We might get a glimpse of sunshine, but don't hold out for much. The weekend planner looks soggy, friends. It doesn't look good at all. So if you're planning on getting out today, looks like the best day, because it is a holiday. And if you want to call Environment Canada, their number is 1-900-565-5555. And we're joined by some guests who are going to be performing. This is Heather. And your brother's name?
John.
John, of course. I'm sorry, John, I forgot. Because I had to do the whole weather forecast. I had to memorize the whole thing. Now, the Rankin family from the East Coast, how is Canada Day celebrated in the East Coast? Is it much different than here?
Actually, today in Halifax, they're commemorating the Pier 21, which was a place of arrival for immigrants coming into Canada. And so this year is a very special year with that commemoration.
You must have played many Canada Day celebrations across the country. Is there a memorable one for you?
Well, they're all memorable. For some reason, you don't forget about them. We've done, I think, probably one every other year. So, no, we always have a good time. Whether it's here or Ottawa or Halifax, it's usually a good time.
Now, Ottawa is the biggest one across Canada. That is fun to go and see. But apparently, I heard a rumor that actually British Columbia here at Canada Place might actually surpass attendance for Ottawa. Looks like a lot of people here to see you tonight.
Yeah, I guess we had some luck with getting rid of the tickets for our show tonight, so we're really excited to be back and look forward to tonight.
Now, you're on at 7 o'clock or 7:15, is that right?
No,
8:30.
8:30. You're on till 8:30?
No.
On 8:30. At 8:30.
Well, the big board over there says something different, so you're on at 8:30. Okay.
8:30, yeah.
That would be 8:30 BC time.
Oh, what's that Newfoundland time? It's a half hour ahead, I know that. Now, your other siblings are where today?
Cookie and Jimmy are off doing a radio interview, I believe. Yeah. And the rest of the band, they're just, out taking in the festivities.
The great BC weather. So say Happy Canada Day to everybody across British Columbia.
Hey, Happy Canada Day. Happy birthday.
Hey, Deb. We'll talk to you a little bit later.
Thank you, Zach.
It's at 8:30.
Now, Canada Place, as you know, is a busy place for ships, cruise ships for the most part, but today there's another type of ship that's berthed here. It's HMCS Ottawa, and we're going to take you aboard next on the Noon News Hour. Welcome back to Canada Place and this special broadcast of the noon news hour for Canada Day. One of the great things that you can do here today for free is tour HMCS Ottawa. Now, as any one of her crew of over 200 or so will tell you, she's one of the most state-of-the-art fighting ships in her class in the world, and she's just recently back from a tour of the Persian Gulf. Here's a look. HMCS Ottawa, in BC for Canada Day, but recently in the Persian Gulf, working with the U.S. Navy. Her mission? To ensure Iraqi or other ships weren't smuggling out weapons or oil, contrary to the United Nations embargo. Ottawa's a state-of-the-art frigate, 440 feet long, armed with an arsenal of missiles, torpedoes, and guns. Lieutenant Sean Perry of Vancouver, but now you're of the HMCS Ottawa, of course.
HMCS Ottawa.
And here we are, we're on the front deck of the ship, and we're looking at the bridge, I take it.
Yeah, this is the bridge behind us, and you also can see our anti-air, anti-surface gun with about 220 rounds per minute, a 57 millimeter, so that's the size of the round, and 220 rounds per minute, although we don't usually have to go to that capability. We, of course, would only fire, when we practice, we fire maybe 10 rounds just to test the gun out and make sure that it's working up to snuff.
On our way to the bridge. Lieutenant Perry hasn't seen much of home since he joined the Navy 10 years ago. At 28, he's one of Ottawa's 7 officers of the watch, and he's proud of his ship. Oh, there's a lot of machinery in this room.
It's a very modern bridge. It's only 2 years old, and as romantic as it is to navigate by the stars, we now have a GPS feed right to the bridge. We have an excellent navigation radar. We have a slave down to see what's going on in the operations room as far as fighting the battle. As you can hear, the internal communications is the Shinkong. It acts as
Are you supposed to answer that now?
Internal and external.
You better answer that.
Okay. Bridge Lieutenant Perry. We're on the bridge right now. Yeah, so about 15 minutes. Okay, thank you.
That's about us, I think. It's not about any war being called or anything like that. You know the one thing I noticed that's missing here?
What's that?
Where is the steering wheel?
It is right here.
Okay.
The older ships, it wouldn't be missing. It would be 2 decks down below, and it would be the big wooden wheel that I'm sure you picture. And now it is a video game.
Wow.
With the seatbelt included, nice little steering wheel, and push buttons to change the speed. So
But
we have a throttleman and a helmsman.
But Lieutenant Perry, if you sit down here, you can see out the windows.
Personally, he's got to follow what the officer watch is giving us for courses.
Oh.
It's not up to the helmsman to be changing the course without direction.
And next, an area you don't normally get to see.
So this is the operations room. It's obviously a restricted area, not somewhere where we allow guests on board. However, today we have it open for you, and we can have a quick tour. Lieutenant Darren Hawko is available.
This is basically the room from which the weapons...
This is, you saw the bridge, that's where we navigate from. This is where we fight the war from.
All the weapons and sensors are controlled, and all the input and tactical data is coordinated and amalgamated through slaved computer systems, and it's presented all down here.
And talk about weapons. They've got a close-in weapons system. Sea Sparrow missiles that go up to 8 miles. Harpoon missiles up to 60 miles, and something they call chaff.
And then this is a defensive system called chaff, and essentially it launches tinfoil in the air, which would provide a target for a missile like a harpoon to inadvertently lock onto so that it wouldn't actually attack the ship.
What we were doing in the Gulf, that was
Last but definitely not least, we meet the captain, or rather the 2 captains. As it happens, Ottawa is changing hands today. And, Captain Bergeron, you're actually going back to your family when you
That's correct.
Sign off here.
Yes, on Friday I catch a plane and go back to Ottawa and get ready to move to my next appointment in Newport, Rhode Island.
And your family's going with you to this one?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, this is my first command, and I've been on board for all of 3 days now in order to look over the ship and to get to understand it. That's a big task, as you might imagine.
I can imagine.
So I come directly from the East Coast, where I've been executive officer in our replenishment ship, Preserver.
Captain Greenwood takes command today, and he'll be busy. HMCS Ottawa pulls out of Vancouver at midnight tonight. Ottawa's open for public tours this afternoon, though. If you'd like to come down and check it out, the tours run from 1 o'clock this afternoon until 5 o'clock this afternoon. HMCS Ottawa is berthed on the west side of Canada Place, but you really can't miss it. It's quite big. And that's not all that you can see and do here at Canada Place today. Of course, we can't show you everything because there's just too much, but here is a look at some of the highlights. There are a number of bands performing. The Paperboys at 4:30 this afternoon on the O Canada main stage. That's in Hall A. Patricia Conroy will be up after that at 5:45, and the Rankins are on, as they said several times earlier in the broadcast, at 8:30. Now at 1:30 this afternoon you can take in the Vancouver Police Dog Show. It's in Exhibition Hall B, and in Hall C you can catch a film that's rarely seen here in Canada. It was one of the most talked about presentations at Expo 88 and 92, and it features breathtaking scenery from coast to coast. And then there's lots to do in the Inner Harbour as well. Any minute now, the Canadian Coast Guard will start a search and rescue demonstration. A bathtub race starts at 1:15, and there are harbour cruises every half hour until 3 o'clock this afternoon. And the best thing about this is that all these activities are free. I'd like to introduce you to a friend of mine now, and he's here to give us his thoughts on Canada Day, and he is Braden Cayley. Hi Braden, how are you today?
Great, thank you.
And I have to have this microphone more or less right at his mouth so we can hear him over the crowd. Now, I first met you when you were a winner in our Follow a Leader contest, and you wrote a very nice letter, and you came to the station with me for a day, and you spoke so well I thought you might have a few thoughts on Canada Day.
Yeah.
What does Canada mean to you, Braden?
Well, I'm very proud to be Canadian. It's such a wonderful country to live in. We've got such a wonderful society with a wonderful election system and opposition parties, so nothing can go wrong in the House of Government.
I bet you know who the Prime Minister is.
Yes.
Who is the Prime Minister?
John Chrétien, of course.
Of course. Actually, Braden's kind of an unusual kid. There aren't many 11-year-olds that would be trying to join a political party, but tell me about, you wanted to join the Liberal Party here in BC.
Yes. Last year, I spent a 2-night holiday in Whistler, the Chateau Whistler Hotel, and there happened to be a Liberal convention there, and I had the privilege of speaking to Paul Martin, David Anderson, and many other MPs and ministers at that time.
And so you tried to join the Liberal Party, and
they said I had to be 14, which I'm not.
Not for a couple more years. So eventually you joined the NDP party because they would let you in.
Yes, when I told them my story about not being allowed to join the Liberals, they gladly let me in, of course.
Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for coming down today, Braden, and I hope you're having fun here at Canada Day.
Yes, I am.
Okay, thanks. Isn't he sweet? It's exotic, and perhaps even more importantly, it's sunny. Coming up next on the Noon News Hour, Alec Burden joins us with a trip to Bali. We'll be back with that live from Canada Place in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Canada Place, where we are live for Canada Day on the noon news hour. And of course, it hasn't been very nice out, so we thought we needed to go on a holiday today. And Alex here to
This
take
is an
us
incredible
away.
mother here with thousands of people behind. She says, I can hear a baby cry. I can barely hear myself talk. Yes, we're going away to somewhere exotic, all the way south to a little island called Bali. Take a look at this.
Indonesia, an archipelago of 13,000 islands. Well worth your discovery. Touring around the islands is not difficult. It's a serene and beautiful place, and one that you can enjoy. Today we visit just two of the islands, Bali and Lombok. Artisans abound, and you may wish to take one of their silver trinkets home with you. Religious festivals are many and varied. You will be invited, you're certainly welcome, but do dress accordingly. One of the things you'll enjoy are the beaches of Lombok and Bali. They are wonderful, pristine, large, quiet, and also serene. You can make it active if you wish, but most people in this climate prefer just a stroll along the beach. You'll find plenty to do, whatever you want to do, whether it's a bit of shopping or just sitting around with your friends. But don't forget the countryside. Have a good look at it. You've got the beach, of course, to play on, and you've got the wonderful islands of Bali and Lombok to explore.
Here they are. It's an 18-day departure. Bali, Lombok, and Singapore. Any Monday, September the 9th, right through to November 29th, when you really want to get away, if you don't want to get away this week. Round-trip airfare, 7 nights in Bali, 5 nights in Lombok, 4 nights in Singapore, at superior hotels, breakfast daily, some dinners and transfers. You can have it at $2,099 per person, based on 2 people. That's a super deal, but we've got some Canada Day specials because it's Canada Day. And these are within Canada. Toronto, $359 return. Ottawa, $389, a little late for the parade up there. Whitehorse, $199 return. Now, Braden said he wanted to go up into Alaska. Yeah. That's a good stopping off place.
And
Do you
July
like the
7th is his birthday, by the way.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he's going to be 12.
We still got some more Canada Day specials here. Jasper National Park Tour, October the 10th. Round-trip Vancouver coach tour. 1 night Kamloops, 3 nights Jasper, a night in Revelstoke. Activities, 8 meals, a welcome reception, $7.99 per person. That'll take you away for a while. And here we got something up Sunshine Peaks Resort. 2 nights hotel in the deluxe suite at the Cahelte Hotel. I'm still alive. That was a balloon, not a gun. 9 holes of golf at the resort course. 1 hour mountain bike rental, chairlift, Alpine Meadow, see all the blossoms. 1-day pass for rec center. Tennis, hiking, pool, and jacuzzi, $99 per person Canadian per night. That is a super red hot Canada Day special. Wow. But if you want to get away from everything, well, you got to go to Mexico. Vancouver to Puerto Vallarta, July 11, air and 7 nights hotel and transfers, $679. Keep going. We got more to Maui, July 16th, air and 7 nights hotel and a car rental, $959. And European air specials, in case you really want to get away, London is just $579 on July 14th, and Dusseldorf, if you want to go to the heart of Germany, August the 4th, $669. You want more information? All you got to do is dial 280-ALEC. You get the Best Bets recorded hotline, and if you're out of town, it's toll-free, and I'm out of town, 1-888-988-ALEC.
Thank you very much, Alec, and happy Canada Day.
Thank you. A happy Canada Day to you, and here's to all the immigrants.
Squire Barnes has got sports for us next. Stay with us. And now, here with his Canada Day Sportscast, Squire Barnes.
And the Canada Day Sportscast, of course, not much different than the other sportscast, except that I'm wearing a Canadian flag. Rain is causing more problems at Wimbledon, not just here, but at Wimbledon as well. Some matches have been delayed today. The way things are going, Wimbledon might not get decided until August. They're supposed to decide it at the end of this week, but all the matches are backing up. Now, one that did get completed today, Lindsay Davenport, for the first time in her career, has moved on to the semifinals at Wimbledon, defeating Yana Novotná. And Lindsay 6-3, 6-4. And this was the perfect matchup for Davenport because she's never lost to Yana Novotná. She's now 6-0 lifetime against the defending champ. That's it. Davenport's on. Novotná's gone. But that's the only match that's been completed. Venus Williams and Steffi Graf. Now, it says defeated, but it really isn't quite over yet. They're tied 1 set apiece, with Williams leading 2-1 in the third set. Stevenson leads Dokic 6-3, but Dokic is 5-1 in the second set, and Tozier leads Lukic. On the men's side, again, nothing is done. Rafter, not Rafters. That's what you have. Anyway, it's Rafters. There's just one of them.
Carry on.
Him and Martin are tied 3-3. Hemman leads Pioline. Sampras and Philippoussis a later start. And Sebastian Leroux and his partner are leading their doubles match. All right. Now, before yesterday's NBA draft, Steve Francis's agent said he would have a problem playing in Vancouver. Obviously, one of the problems is Steve Francis doesn't know where Vancouver is. At least he didn't at the time he was picked second overall yesterday. Now, I'm sure since then he's grabbed the Rand McNally and checked out where we actually are. The Grizzlies are not planning to trade Steve Francis to any city that he's heard of.
With the second pick in the 1999 NBA draft, the Vancouver Grizzlies select Steve Francis from the University of Maryland.
There's no overlooking it. New Grizzlies Steve Francis looked about as happy as Mike Bibby did last year when Bibby was drafted in the first round, which makes you wonder, why draft a player who appears less than thrilled about coming to a team that already has a point guard, the position Steve Francis wants to play?
He didn't appear that he was the happiest guy at the draft, tonight. And I think he has, the ability to play two different positions a lot, the same way a Joe Dumars did, in terms that he can play the two. And actually, I think right now, at this point in his career, he's probably more two than he is one.
I wanted to be the #1 pick, no doubt. I'm pretty sure all the guys who are in the green room now wanted to do that. So just to be selected is something that I really will cherish for the rest of my life.
At 6'3", Francis is a great leaper that can slash his way to the bucket like Allen Iverson, who most scouts compare Francis's game to. Last year, he led Maryland with 17 points a game, but he can also play D. His 95 steals this past season, the second highest total in Maryland history. As for his weaknesses, well, aside from not knowing where Vancouver is, he'll have to mature his game to the NBA level. I'm definitely looking forward to being a professional basketball player, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. I'm definitely an up and down guy. When I was in Maryland, that's what we did. And, I can adjust my game to just about anything that goes on.
With the selection of Steve Francis, we've given ourselves a little bit better ability to shoot the ball, and we've given ourselves a hell of a lot more ability to break defenses down. Right now, that's our full intent, is to keep the pick. As I've stated in other drafts past, we don't select players with the intent to trade them, and this draft is no different.
Now, Steve Francis is going to be flown to Vancouver on Monday to meet with the Grizzlies brass, meet with the media, and get a tour of the city he's going to be living in. He'll play alongside Mike Bibby when he's ready to start in the NBA, and this could really change Vancouver's offense around. In the past, they've gone through Sharif and then Bryant Reeves, but with a guy like Steve Francis, obviously Sharif's your first choice offensively. Francis could very well be the second choice, and that could be a much faster team the Vancouver Grizzlies will have, so it'll make you wonder what Big Country's role is going to be in it. The rest of the first part of the draft yesterday went like this. Vancouver would have taken Elton Brand had he been available, but the Bulls took him instead. Lamar Odom dropped to number 4. He was the guy who was in the draft and he wanted out of the draft. They said you couldn't go back to school. Vancouver had some questions about his character, so they didn't pick him. And Todd McCulloch, who played in Washington, is from Winnipeg. He was selected in the second round by the 76ers. Now, the Grizzlies had 2 picks in the second round. At 51st, they went for forward Antwain Smith. He was a Division II All-American. The 37th spot overall, the Grizzlies went for one of Steve Francis's teammates, 6'10" forward Obina Akizi. Now, Akizi won't mind leaving school for Vancouver because he's used to leaving his home to play basketball since he is originally from Nigeria. Good shot blocker, averaged 12.7 points this past season, but he suffered a serious Achilles tendon injury in February, and he's still recovering from it. And one other note from yesterday's draft, Seattle took Corey Maggette of Duke, #1, their first pick. Then they traded him with 3 veterans to Orlando to pick up veteran Horace Grant and 2 future second-rounders. Turning to the Lions here, there were 2 good things about last night's Lions-Eskimos game at BC Place. 1, it was just an exhibition, so nothing really matters. 2, not a lot of people saw the game. Just over 13,000 were announced to watch the Eskimos defeat the Lions 49-9. This is the final exhibition game for Greg Mons and the crew. This guy never seems to age. Gizmo Williams, he's about 63 now. 74-yard return on a missed field goal by Louis Passaglia, who makes the tackle on Gizmo. That would set up a Edmonton field goal, and then when BC got close, they got sacked. Tyrone Hines knocking down Damon Allen. And Greg Mons does a slow burn and works on his expletives. Troy Mills, 70-yard touchdown run. That's the first TD for Edmonton. That made it 13-1 in the first quarter. They turned out the lights, they turned them back on, and it caused Jimmy the Jet Cunningham to fumble the ball in the ensuing kickoff. Ed Hervey from Nealon Green. Eskimos have some good names in their roster this year. 20-1 in the first quarter. Only good thing the Lions did in the first half, Louis Passaglia. Here's your backup quarterback. Fake punt to Robert Drummond. Passaglia accounted for all the Lions' points last night. They scored 9 by halftime. The Lions didn't score any points in the second half. Marcus Dowdell from Marcus Crandall. Another Edmonton touchdown. Todd Marinovich played a bit last night, 5 of 11, 45 yards. He might be the backup quarterback. We'll have to wait and see. And Bobby Phillips finished at least this highlight package off with a 2-yard run, 49-9 the final for Edmonton. Greg Mons not happy.
Better than what we showed tonight, and it's a lack. It comes from the heart. You got to play with the heart, and you know the accountability. We're going to be talking about accountability, and I just told the players, you know, we'll look at the video tomorrow, and they better decide. The game is played with the heart.
Nice hat.
Speaking of good sports, they told me I had to wear this, but it's Canada Day, so you can wave the flag. Zach, how are you doing out there?
Well, it's loud, I can tell you that. Lots of people out here having a good time. There's bands, all kinds of people out here enjoying the bands. It'll be here all afternoon long. You want to come down, the weather doesn't look too bad. And I've got my BCTV paddle, and I've been practicing at it, and I'm still not very good. How's that look? I come right at you. It's like 3D TV.
Thank you, Zach.
Okay, we'll see you later.
And thank you very much for joining us on this Canada Day. Have a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.